emptied out my soul. You've heard it all before, honest but I know. Left these years ago, I was young and almost still could fill the void. We don't need the past in our lives for tomorrow. Never see the end of the night filled with sorrow. What do we do to love? What do we do to love? What do we do to love?
Welcome back to another episode of Hanging with the Herrigs. In this episode, we head to Moab, Utah.
Leaving the beautiful Lake Powell area, we headed back to Utah. We couldn't get enough of the place, so we decided to go back.
And Moab was a pretty far drive for us, so a halfway point was Blanding, Utah. On our way to Blanding, Utah, we drove through Monument Valley, one of the most majestic, most photographed points on Earth.
And if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, run and watch Forrest Gump right now. Stop this video. Don't waste your time on this nonsense. Go watch. The red rock formations and sandstone towers were formed during the Permian period.
It's also been featured in lots of movies like
Easy Rider, Forrest Gump, Billy the Kid, and The Space Odyssey.
It's been used as a backdrop on album covers for bands like the Eagles, Led Zeppelin, and Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Again, if you're still watching this and you haven't seen Forrest Gump, turn this off. Go watch Forrest Gump.
When we finally got to Blanding, we decided to stay in our second ever Harvest Host, which was a dinosaur museum. And we were really excited about it because the next morning when it opened up, we were going to take Easton in to check it out. And at that time, he was super into dinosaurs.
So we pulled in. The parking lot was perfect. Everything was perfect. There was no one there. It was an easy pull in. We could not get the landing gear to do anything. What ended up being a problem was that there was a wire loose on our leveling system and it wasn't getting enough power without being on shore power. So that made it impossible to stay. We couldn't get the slides open or anything from where we were. So Leisha made a few calls. 5 minutes away, there was a campground with full hookups.
We slept there, and then the next morning we got up and we went back over just down the street to the dinosaur museum.
Are you excited? Come on. What? And look at its baby. Hey, there's a Carnotaurus. Yeah. Look through there. Who is it?
Dinosaur Museum. Dave was still pretty busy. We only had about a 2 to 2.5 hour drive, so we stopped at a little playground and a park and let Easton play with some kids before we ended up hitting the road and heading to Moab.
Oh, I'm done. Oh yeah, wait, that is still.
Before we headed to Moab, we stopped at a gas station just outside of Blanding that had a bowling alley inside of it, which was pretty crazy.
Don't believe you.
It's on video.
I didn't see it.
That's because you were in the car. Right before you get to Moab, there becomes a lot of really cool stop-off places, little souvenir shops, and one of those places was called Hole in the Rock, which ended up being a really cool photo op. We ended up taking a picture of our rig there, and we got chosen in the Saber group on Facebook as the cover photo. On our drive, we
We were inverted. Top Gun fans will love that. That won't kill.
Oh my God.
That will kill. We were inverted.
So we had to drive through the town of Moab to get to the RV park that we were going to be staying at in Thompson Springs, Utah, which ended up being about 30 to 40 minutes north of Moab.
Life on the road is not all glitz and glamour, seeing cool stuff. I had been working since 4 in the morning. Then I had to drive to the next spot. By the time we passed Moab, I was ready to stop driving. We drove an hour past the destination to get to this place. And when we pulled in, cousins were banging in the yard. There were people shooting up in their cars. It looked like 7 homeless people were living in one van.
If you don't know Dave, he's exaggerating, but only a little bit. Only a little bit. It was
There's no
bad.
exaggerations. We were not staying there.
Here, picture this, especially if you're a camper. There was water spewing out of a spigot on someone's trailer, and then water spewing out of their sewer area, which was right next to us. The name of the hotel was the Desert Moon Hotel and RV.
I promise you, we will never stay in that park.
So we drove the 40 minutes back down into Moab, and we got to the park. And they said they only had one spot open, and that one spot barely fit us in. It was also our first time on a 30 amp when we are a 50 amp. So Dave was really glad that we had our 50 to 30 amp converter because it came in handy in that trip.
Yeah, we have all the conversions, so we can go from a house to our camper. We can go from 30 to 50. We can go from a lot of things to a lot of things.
Right down the street from our RV park that we were staying at, and the main reason that we came to Moab was to see Arches National Park. If you don't know about Arches, 4.3 million people travel here every year.
We had never, ever heard of Arches until we got in a camper. I, in 40-some years, had never heard of Arches National Park until I got into the camping. And now I'm glad I did, because it was so gorgeous. There's a winding road that takes you through.
And it's steep.
Yeah, steep. I would never want to take our camper in there, but there was
No.
people driving their Class A's and campers, and it's a really steep and windy road, and
it's just a cliff to fall off.
one
There's
wrong
no
turn.
fence.
Yeah, one wrong turn and you're going over the edge.
Avoid strenuous activity during the hottest time of day, noon to 4 p.m. Carry and drink water at all times to prevent dehydration.
The entire park used to be underwater. They only get about 8 to 10 inches of rain per year.
Balanced rock. It is enormous. And on top of that is a 4,000-ton boulder balanced up there from nature. Not somebody standing it there. Nature has created this balanced rock, 130 feet in the air, and are 4,000 tons. It's enormous.
The LaSalle Mountains off to the right.
Yeah.
The Moab Valley down here in the left.
And what is this?
Off to the left where you see all this open area, that's the Courthouse Wash Canyon. The one off to the left is called Sheep Rock.
Sheep rock.
And then the 3 guys together, they call them the 3 Gossips.
So we left at sunset and we headed back into the town of Moab, and we went to a place called Dewey's, and the food was really good there. We were really happy, and it was really one of the only places that we decided to eat while we were in Moab. After we left to eat, we did a little bit of souvenir shopping, and then we went back home again for a good night's sleep. One day there was a really big storm, so that's always a day for us to do laundry and catch up on work and catch up on cleaning and getting prepared for our upcoming travels. The next day, Dave had a big day of work, so Easton and I went to Moab Giants. And Moab Giants is a dinosaur park with a desert trail with life-size dinosaurs. It also has a 3D show, a paleontologist playground, dig-out sites, and a 5D paleo aquarium.
On the edge of one of the galaxies, our universe is
where we live.
Continuous.
That is the dinosaur trail.
I love dinosaurs.
Are we ready? Let's go. Ankylosaurus. Who's right up in front of us? Who is that in front of us? T-Rex.
One of my favorite things about Moab was a little drive to Canyonlands National Park. It is miles and miles of beautiful views.
It is definitely like a smaller Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
but
100%.
lots of little canyons,
Yeah.
basically. The Canyonlands National Park was carved out by the Colorado River and established in 1964. It's 527 square miles of colorful landscape that's been eroded into tons of canyons, mesas, arches, all by the river. And then the night before we were leaving, we decided to do one more trip over to Arches because Arches was only about 10 minutes away. And obviously there was still a lot for us to see. So we actually went over there not too far from sunset. We were really glad that we ended up going back the last time because we ended up finding one of our favorite arches, which was the Sand Dune Arch. All around you is that orange kind of sandstone and clay, and then the sand at your feet. It is literally like out of this world.
It's like what you would expect if you were on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me.
Exactly. That's a good point.
done with Moab, and we had a nice long drive to Denver, Colorado.
We will see you in Denver, Colorado. Thanks for watching another episode of Hanging with the Herrigs. Please subscribe to our channel and like our videos if you do. If you don't like them, leave a comment and tell me what I could do better, because I'm always open to suggestions. Here's our motto.
We came.
We saw.
We out.
See ya. Bye.
We don't need the past in our lives for tomorrow. Never see the end of the night filled with sorrow. What do we do to love? What do we do to love? What do we do to love? When everything's said and done. What do we do to love? What do we do to love? What do we do to love? When everything's said and done. What do we do to love?